He's a member of the House Financial Services Committee. Great to see you, Congressman. $2 trillion deficit Biden is still running. This is recession-level spending, making inflation even worse. But I argue they will never change course, ever change their garbage rhetoric, because it would be an admission that they caused all of this suffering and hardship that Americans are experiencing.
Well, listen, Dagan and Sean, I'm glad I'm with you. I'm glad I'm on the bottom line, because what you are saying is absolutely correct. Their entire economic agenda has been a disaster. The only people that are making out are the people who are taking advantage of the subsidies that they've put into practice, into the law. They've spent money with impunity. And what people understand, what they're really understanding now, is that money just doesn't come out of thin air. When you spend this kind of money, when you print this kind of money, it comes from the purchasing power of every American. So if you're a poor American, middle-income American, you're suffering under this economy because prices are up 20% since Joe Biden took office. The last year, they're up 3.5%. In the real world, that means the price of bread, the price of milk, the price of Oreos, used cars, new cars, airline tickets, all up while Joe Biden and the Democrats spend us into oblivion. It's not sustainable. It's not working. The American people have had enough.
You know, Byron, you're a politician. You've run for office. This strategy of the facts be damned. I'm just going to tell the American people, jobs are great, your incomes are rising, and inflation was sky high, and we're bringing it down since I've been in office. All that is false. It's like they're living in a world that was the Trump economy, but they're living in the Biden economy. So they tell bold-faced lies to the American people and think that's going to work.
They can't admit that they are wrong, and unfortunately, that's where we are in American politics. Joe Biden is the master of disaster. I've been calling him that. I'm going to continue to call him that because it's true. Everything the man touched has turned to crap, absolute hot garbage, but they can't reverse course, because if you do that, you have to go back to the Trump policies, and the last thing they want to admit is that Donald Trump was right. But the reality here is that we have to have common sense economic policy here in Washington, D.C., common sense budget policy here in Washington, D.C., so the American people can thrive. Because the craziness that they are doing, no American does that in their household. And people are suffering because now credit card debt at an all-time high in our country. Why? Because people are having a harder time making ends meet. You throw immigration on top of that with our wide open border, and you throw up the crazy foreign policy from Joe Biden, it's a recipe for disaster for the United States of America.
Congressman, what it's going to take in the next Congress is for Republicans to siphon off the unspent money. Because so much, like you look at the hundreds of billions of dollars just in electric vehicle subsidies. When you have half of Americans telling Gallup, I don't want to buy an electric vehicle. So any unspent money has to be siphoned away. And they're going to be, how many EV charging stations? 7.5 billion over 10 years. And 7 EV charging stations have been built with 38 spots. You got to pull that money back, and it's going to be a great heavy lift for conservatives.
Well, now let me be a little bit critical of some of my colleagues here in the House. We have to get out of this mindset that the only thing we do on Capitol Hill is demonstrate that we can govern. That is a fallacy. Up here, we have to lead. We have to be strong in our positions. We have to lead, frankly, the American people, and that comes with a change in the White House. And we have to be serious about these issues. You can't beat around the bush. You can't trim around the edges. You said it best. The Green New Deal stuff they stuck into the American Rescue Plan or the Inflation Reduction Act or whatever heck they call the stupid stuff, that stuff is a disaster because we're getting the minerals, we're getting the equipment from China, we're empowering the Chinese economy to the detriment of our own and our own energy creation systems here in the United States. This is not sustainable, but you got to get serious on Capitol Hill. You can't try to have some détente with the Democrats and just try to put together a package that we think is going to get through the Senate. You have to lead and then demonstrate with policy and with execution that this is the best thing for America.
You have the House, you have to lead with the House. You are so right on that, Congressman. Yep. And the Democrat delusion, it doesn't just stop at the economy, Congressman. Speaker Emeritus Nancy Pelosi claims Trump and House Republicans are destroying America's reputation by blocking further aid for Ukraine. Watch.
It's about Donald Trump allowing Mike Johnson to bring it to the floor. And all of this activity about vacating the chair is springing from Donald Trump. Why is it that he is so pro-Putin? I keep saying all roads lead to Putin when it comes to Trump. In terms of our reputation in the world, it is greatly diminished by what is happening in the House of Representatives.
Byron, how would you respond to the Speaker Emeritus?
America, Nancy Pelosi's lying to you. The only thing that's holding up Ukraine funding in Washington, D.C. is Joe Biden's refusal to secure the southern border. That is it. If he actually worked with House Republicans to secure our nation, the votes would be there to actually take care of Ukraine. But it is illogical to be worried about the borders of Ukraine while the borders in America continue to be wide open. We have more than 10 million people that have come into the country, not to mention the people who are on the terrorist watch list that we know have come into this country or we caught before they can come into this country. It's insane policy from the Democrats, and the only thing they'll try to do is blame Donald Trump. But guess what? Donald Trump has not been president for 3 years. Joe Biden has. And with respect to our situation around the globe, it is because of Joe Biden's weakness that we are in these positions from a foreign policy perspective.
Congressman Byron Donalds, secure the border. You're spot on. Thanks for being with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.